You all have just been doing some amazing work. Garrett and I are lucky we get to kind of bounce in and out of your organizing team meetings. And I was just doing some we were just doing some numbers, just kind of in preparation of Mobilize and just putting all the totals together from across the country. And Recovery Advocacy Project has really just started in 2019. And I just wanted to let you all know that since 2019, we've had a total of 1,234 organizing state meetings across the country. And so just think about that when you're on your organizing team meeting every other week, and then just think about all the other states and what they're doing and the local campaigns that they're doing. I just want to, sometimes it can be frustrating sometimes when we're advocating for something and it might seem slow. But I just wanted to put that bigger picture out there for folks and knowing that all of this adds up, because with that work that's been over 19,000 people have across the country have signed petitions or wrote letters to elected officials or come to a listening session throughout the years. And so I just want to thank everybody. If this is your first national training, welcome. If you've been coming here for a bit, we welcome you. And I just wanted to say we appreciate you, and thanks for coming to the this is the last training session we're going to have before Mobilize Recovery. And just so everybody knows, there is no virtual training next month. We're going to be, a lot of us are going to be in Vegas, and so our learning session next month is going to be in person on the Monday of Mobilize Recovery. And so you're going to be sitting with other state team members on your teams. I'm going to pass things on to Ryan Hampton, and then we're going to get started into our learning session tonight. We're going to be hearing from people talk about Recovery Month activities and Overdose Awareness Day activities and International Recovery Day as well. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you. It's so good to be here and see everybody. It's been a minute. I've been like underground in a hole trying to plan Mobilize Recovery, and I just can't wait to see so many of you here in person in Las Vegas in just a couple of weeks. And for those that'll be joining us virtually, we're working really, really hard to make sure that there's a robust experience for people who will be joining us from afar this year. Hearing Aaron talk about the numbers, and he just shared them with me a couple of days ago, and all that keeps going through my mind is what Heather Ogden, who said this to me last year, and she said, "Oh my gosh, our baby's getting so big." And now I could think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, the baby's even bigger, and the baby just keeps getting bigger. And that's thanks to all the work that everybody on this call is doing and doing around the country. And it's really exciting for me to be able to follow it and hear about things that are happening that I don't hear necessarily about on this call, but I see happening on Facebook, and I get phone calls and I hear about the organizing work that's going on in your communities. And this was really, I think, all of your vision, and it certainly was in my mind when we started this journey together, just 2 years ago, was something that was completely authentic, right? And something that was completely pure led, and something that most importantly was coming, right from the grassroots, from our own communities. So thank you all to all the work that you're doing. And again, I just can't wait to see so many of you soon in just a couple of weeks. And for those that are coming, we've really been on overdrive on COVID safety and compliance, and have really invested quite a deal. And I know that you've heard some from the events team on it, but are just committed to making this the safest, but also most accessible event that we can have this year. I am happy to report that in terms of our virtual attendance, we are having limited attendance in person, obviously because of COVID and the protocols that we're going to have in place. But virtually, we have already, and the virtual participation closes on Monday, have doubled what we had in terms of participation last year, which again is really not attributable to to the work that I'm doing as an organizer here in Las Vegas, trying to pull this together, and Eric and Garrett, but really to all of you, right? Because that's how the word's getting out, and that's how people are getting engaged. And it's really exciting to see so many new people, right? Because that's the whole idea around Mobilize Recovery, and the work that we do during Recovery Month is to engage new people and give them a taste into what this work is and what's possible. So today you are going to hear about some of the actions taking place on International Overdose Awareness Day, which will be on Tuesday, and then followed by Wednesday, which is the kickoff of National Recovery Month. And we have that starting on Wednesday, and then we have International Recovery Day, which I'm really excited about to cap off National Recovery Month, which will be on September 30th. And I just want to thank the team that's really pulled together to kind of get the assets together and the ideas together around what we could be doing to help raise awareness during IOAD and Recovery Month this year. And a special thanks to Johnny and T and Annette and John Winslow for everything that they do. You know, John, just a quick story, you know, last year, and I'm going to talk about Recover Out Loud in just a moment, but last year, John Winslow, you know, kicked off with the organization that he started, International Recovery Day, to start this day where internationally and around the world, you know, we could recognize recovery on one day at the end of Recovery Month. And he had tremendous success, and the committee and the team that came together to put this idea into action had tremendous success with many of the structures that they were able to light up. And he said, well, maybe next year we can do something, you know, to complement that, to really try and get the word out. And that's kind of how the Recover Out Loud concert, which you've all heard about now, was born. It was really a conversation with John and a few other people around how could we leverage the power of media, how could we leverage the power of influencers that are out there, people in recovery, how could we leverage the power of musicians, not just to kind of have a one and done event, but to really lift up International Recovery Day, and through the power of bold media, give people the message that recovery is real, that recovery is possible, that recovery is in their communities, that recovery is for everyone, and bring more people in under this tent that we're growing, in this large tent that we're growing. So that's how Recover Out Loud started. And it grew very quickly, and it is a project of Mobilize Recovery, of the Recovery Advocacy Project, and of the Voices Project, which you all have worked very, very hard to help build over the last 2 very short years. Recover Out Loud, though we, as is in our, you know, our mission statement and our principles here at RAP, is a big tent. So we bring in as many people as possible, and we have several partnering organizations that are helping us to pull this off. But we also had the unique opportunity to partner with Bold Media, and that meant that we were able to partner with iHeartRadio and Variety Magazine and Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and we brought in a tent for them too, so that they could help us amplify it. And I'm really excited to report out, as you saw, it is going to be a great show, but it's not just going to be a show with Macklemore and Evie McKinney and The Residency and KT Tunstall and a few other artists who are coming on board. But it is going to be featuring your work. It's going to be featuring the work that's been done this past year. It's going to be featuring different organizations and letting people know how they can get involved in this movement. And for those that will be here in person in Las Vegas, everyone at Mobilize in person will be there in person. We're really excited about it. But it will be broadcast globally, not just here in the United States, but globally on International Recovery Day. The event is in celebration of Recovery Month, but also International Recovery Day. And I'll say that again, I'm really excited about that. And it will air as a live event across YouTube and across Facebook through iHeart's channels. And it looks like we're fairly close to a distribution opportunity with iHeart also on other syndicated radio stations nationwide. And it will receive promotion from Google on International Recovery Day on the Google homepage. So we're hoping that a lot of people see this message and it brings them in. and we're in the process of putting together toolkits for all of you and for your communities. And we're already starting to see watch parties that are starting to take shape in different cities and towns. And if hosting a watch party is something that interests you, certainly I'd encourage you to do that. Even the people who are going to be at Mobilize, hopefully many of you will be back home by September 30th. And you could think about having a watch party with your family and closest friends, because there's going to be plenty of calls to action and plenty of ways for people to engage. So really excited. You can check out more information as it's posted about Recover Out Loud. We'll be at recoveroutloud2021.org. And you'll be hearing plenty more about it as the next couple of weeks get us closer to September 27th. So again, thank you all so much. It's great to see you all virtually. And I can't wait to see you all, those of you that will be here in a couple of weeks, and those of you that will be participating from afar. I will see you on the Zoom. So thank you all so much. And I'll kick it back to Aaron.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. And I'm going to turn things over to John, who he came to us a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. He said, how can we elevate International Recovery Day? And I know a lot of you might have taken this action already, but I'm going to put in the chat box, and I encourage you all to take this action and organize your community to take this action, so we can work to get as many local governments or local structures lit up purple for September 30th. I'm going to let John talk more about it. So with that, but I just wanted to make sure everybody had the action. So if you have not taken that action yet, I've dropped it in the chat box. Please do so and share it on social media and in your networks, and make it happen. We got the whole month to do it. So let's get it done. All right, John, take it away.
Great, thank you, Aaron. And I do really want to deeply thank you and Garrett for all the work that you have done in putting the message out there about International Recovery Day and the call to action to all our recovery advocates. And Ryan, in particular, thank you just tremendously for all you've done in helping us plan this year for International Recovery Day. And you caught up in the tail end of last year's our inaugural launch of International Recovery Day. It got quite interesting right there at the very end. And as a result of some interesting circumstances, you jumped in there and really have done some amazing things to really grab the country's attention about International Recovery Day and move it, further onto the global stage. And we're just in our second year now. Just a little bit about, I am a person in long-term recovery for those of you that don't know me, and have been a recovery advocate for a long time. And in terms of Ryan talked about vision. The vision for International Recovery Day came to me through a combination of, first of all, just being ignited when I first saw the Anonymous People movie. And it just flipped a switch inside for me and has continued to do so. And then quite a while later, I was reading a combination of William White's Recovery Rising book, in which I identified a lot throughout the book, as well as reading a biography on Marty Mann, founder of the National Council on Alcoholism. And also having heard Don Coyas from the Native American White Bison and the Wellbriety movement talk about this spider that forms this cobweb that encircles the globe. And there was just something that gelled as I was reading these two things, reflecting on what Don Coyas had talked about with his vision, and recognized that, that although with National Recovery Month, it's been around for a long time, we have these events, some are very small, 50 people here, 15 people here, 150 people somewhere else doing a march, or watching the Anonymous People movie, or some other recovery related event, or the huge walks like 25,000 people, which I've taken part of, walking down Main Street of Philadelphia for celebrating National Recovery Month. But these are all isolated events, and I've been a big one over time, looking to see how we can connect the dots of the recovery communities, individuals, families, communities, initially around the state of Maryland, then more broadly and on a national basis. And then the idea came to me with the technology that we have today, that there's no reason that we can't connect the dots globally, all around the world, that we have these pockets of recovery all over the globe. And and more countries have been getting on board with National Recovery Month. You've got Australia, Canada, Japan, the UK, et cetera, just growing. So let's pull something together in where we are build as big a tent as we can. We can be all inclusive, and we can invite all addictions to participate, and we can invite and embrace all pathways of recovery for folks with all types of addictions, all on the same day, all around the world. And so the idea of International Recovery Day was born. So there are two elements, two basic aspects of this. One is a free website that we have, internationalrecoveryday.org, and you can go on and register for free. Leave as little or as much information, personal information, as you care to about yourself. And with this registration, then on September 30th, you have the option, you'll be given a token, and you'll be given the option then with your token to do a countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And when you get to 0, the button that you've hit is going to launch your own recovery firework into the sky that's going to be met on a two-dimensional global map. And so your firework will join others from around the globe to connect and demonstrate to the world that we not only can, but we do recover, and that we're coming from all walks of life and all different pathways all around the globe, looking to really shift, that the August 31st, International Overdose Awareness Day, and we're all very aware of the ravages of addiction, and we've lost loved ones and people near and dear to us. What we want to do, and beyond the acknowledgement of that, and the later stage of September, is to shift the dialogue, shift the conversation from the ravages of addiction to the hope that's offered through recovery, whatever that pathway of recovery is. So we wanted to invite all folks to, in two ways, through joining going to our website, registering for free, launching your own firework, joining that part. The other part is the recovery lights around the world. Purple being the color that symbolizes recovery, is we are inviting folks to reach out to your local mayors, to your legislators, to the folks that have that big tower that lights up in different colors for various occasions that's in your city, to get in touch with them and ask them to light up their structure in purple on September 30th in recognition of the folks that as a beacon of hope for recovery from addiction. And so we've spent a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you guys have been a part of that effort to reach out to legislators, but we want to go more broadly than that. Get a purple light bulb and stick it on your front porch and flip the switch, on September 30th. Have your recovery community center light up in purple on September 30th. There's a lot of different ways, gather a bunch of people together and then do a feed of what you're doing, and to help get the word out there. Again, the message of hope that we can and do recover. And, my vision is eventually at some point up there on the International Space Station, people are going to look down on September 30th and they're going to see the globe just glowing in purple on that day. So love to have you all join us. And this is definitely, as one of my early sponsors used to frequently say, we can do together what none of us can do alone. I thought that was horseshit. And I ended up eating those words, and absolutely, he was right on target. And so this is the big we. We invite you to participate. Thank you much for having me join you this evening.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you, and just what can come from an idea and turn into a reality is what advocacy is all about. And you know, a lot of our teams, that's what happens. They have different ideas, they go after it, they provide solutions. And so thank you so much for sharing that. I was in Knoxville last week with our Recovery Advocacy Project team in Tennessee. They were doing an employment event, and we were walking by the waterway, and they're just talking about how that bridge in Knoxville, that specific bridge in Knoxville, is going to be lit up on September 30th as well. So if people get their local mayors or municipalities to light something purple, how can they let you know that that's happening? Is there an email address you can drop in the chat box for people because you want to keep track from year to year, right?
Yes, I do want to keep track of it. So I would really welcome you either through our website, and it's info@internationalrecoveryday.org, or John Winslow 1949@gmail.com. Either way.
All right, thank you, John. If you have a minute, if you can put in the chat box, that'll help people. And then, so thank you so much for what you do. And I know that that Bev from Wisconsin earlier was talking about she's getting some of the local structures to light some of their structures up on September 30th too. And one of her advocacy partners is our next presenter here, as our next speaker. So I'm going to turn things over to Annette from Wisconsin, who I don't make all the Wisconsin calls, but I love dropping into that call. So, all right, Annette, go ahead.
All right, thanks. And thanks, John. And thanks, Bev, my fellow Wisconsinite, for telling me about what you were able to accomplish in your area with purple lights. I was able to get a city proclamation in my area, but they nixed the lights. So I'm definitely going to go back to them and try to shame them and say, if Appleton, Wisconsin can do this, why can't we do it in my city? So we'll see if any shaming will work. I mean, in general, shaming is bad, right? We don't want to do it, but in this case, for the greater cause, right? All right, so Aaron asked me to show some of the things we are taking to, let's see, I want to make sure I have the right application. Can people see my screen? Yes, I see some heads nodding. So we have been working on getting materials for tabling, and we made a bunch of graphics. This is a banner we made. This is another banner. My partner in crime, Jill, is taking these to various places and getting banners printed. Jill is also amazing in that she has something kind of out of the ordinary. She has sandwich board signs. So she is having posters printed with, and this is for, again, we're mainly targeting right now next Tuesday, which is Overdose Awareness Day, but we can use this at other events as well. And we're really focusing on our two actions in the state, expanding the Good Samaritan law and legalizing fentanyl test strips. So one side of the sandwich board will have this poster, and the other side will have an explanation of the Good Samaritan law and why it needs to be expanded. And, you know, for events where tables are just all in a row, a sandwich board sign can be really nice, because as people are walking down the aisle, you know, they may not see us or in their peripheral vision, but they will see these sandwich board signs right in front of them. Can't miss it. I also made some handouts with QR codes. And this has our same two actions plus our platform. The flip side has our platform, the details. So we kind of decided that we wouldn't do sign-up sheets because, you know, we can't always read people's penmanship, and that we would just try to get people to use the QR codes right then and there when we're talking with them. And if we have a lot of people at our table and there's only me and Jill at the table, or Jill and Bev, or whoever is doing the tabling at any event, and we can't get to everyone, they can still take one of our half sheet handouts. So that was the idea with that. And then I'm also making palm cards with QR codes. We'll have a sign for the concert, also with a QR code that goes to the YouTube link. And then I'm also planning to bring a few of these brochures, the recovery with anonymity brochures, just, you know, just in case, because I know at the event, there are going to be people that are in the program that are sympathetic, but for various reasons, misunderstanding the 12 steps, feeling like, you know, I don't want to be an advocate, I don't want to say the name of my 12-step group. This brochure is a really good example. And the other really quick thing, if anyone wants to make QR codes for an Action Network action, this is a really easy way to do it. Just, you know, do a web search for a QR code generator. There's a bunch of them out there. You know, you just paste in a URL and it generates a code. You can save in various formats, and easy peasy. So that's it for me.
I want to thank you, Annette. And just to add on that a little bit, I know Texas is doing their big rally. And, you know, depending on what state you're in, you know, I mean, obviously, COVID protocols are different in each state and everything. And they're doing an in-person event in the State House. And they're saying, hey, maybe somebody doesn't want to, you know, grab a pen and sign a petition or that. So they're saying, well, let's put QR codes on it so people can just walk by, use their phones, and that'll get them right to the action. And so thank you for sharing the I think it's brilliant when you have three or four different actions on one card, and I know that Virginia has something similar too. You know, there's a number of states that have more than one action happening at a time. And so if you're in a state that qualifies that, please think about that sort of format. These are something that you can just print out, leave on tables, go to Recovery Month events. And so thank you so much for sharing those. I think that those tools are going to be really helpful to people. So with that, we have another advocate who is busy for Recovery Month and has an amazing social media campaign happening, and there's a challenge that is attached to it. And so Johnny's usually trying to distract me on these trainings, and so I'll try to be right. And so I'll turn things over to Johnny Fab.
Thanks, Aaron. And thanks, John and Annette. Yeah, they asked me to talk about what's going on in PA. And, you know, I'm just so excited. It's Recovery Month, right? It's coming. Here it is. It's right around the corner. So the buildup. So, you know, they asked, get out the conch shells, right? Let's yell in our conch shells. Let's get those. Let's clean off those bullhorns and get them ready because it's Recovery Month. No, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I almost showed up tonight as the Joker, but I didn't do that. So, but, you know, they asked me to talk about things, so I'll calm down and be serious for a second. So to kick off Recovery Month, we've got a lot of things going with PA Rap, but the Recovery Month really has us all over the place. And I'm excited to be with a bunch of our organizers and mobilize. So to kick things off, a few of our organizers, we're helping to support recovery community organizations in Pennsylvania. So we're rappelling off a 12-story building. Yes, we're raising money for local recovery, for Pennsylvania recovery Organizations Alliance and the PA Peer Support Coalition by going over, rappelling down a building, right? So that's what we do, crazy things in recovery. My wife has checked on my life insurance to make sure that it's paid up in full before doing so, but I'm stoked to do it. A little scared, but as we move into Recovery Month, also we have what we have here in Pennsylvania is every September we have Recovery Advocacy Day. So Recovery Advocacy Day brings together advocates of across Pennsylvania to gather at our capital in Harrisburg. And people in recovery, family members, people in the field, advocates will be in attendance to support the recovery and show legislators that their stories and visit with them and their specific action items, talk to them about what their needs are in the community. The event continues to grow. It's been going on now for 7 years. And the message of hope that we try to convey at this event is we do recovery. And this year, for the first year, RAF will have a table at the Recovery Advocacy Day. So we'll be 2 tables down from our state SSA, and we are making a giant poster board and putting our platform on it and have people not only scan and sign up for our platform, but we're going to hand deliver this giant poster board right to our SSA to draw attention to our platform here in Pennsylvania. Also, we'll be signing up people for our action items with our QR code, and we'll have our volunteers in the state of Pennsylvania right there to get people signed up for specific action items. And as soon as we all depart, most of us depart from Mobilize Recovery, that's half the month, right? And then we're coming back, and a few days after, the 27th, I believe, or maybe I'm wrong about the date, but we have a rally in our state capital where we're supporting other organizations and being present to support syringe service access here in Pennsylvania. So I'm really stoked about all the things that are going on. There is so much going on that I wish that I could talk, but I'll be here all night. But the last thing I wanted to kind of mention that really, I think it's really, really important to me is I had a chance 1 year to speak from the state capitol as a person in recovery. I had the privilege of doing so. So many other voices don't get heard, so that's why we try to get these voices to the Capitol to speak. And what I said in the Capitol is a quote from a senator. You might know him from the Anonymous People, and that was, "If the choir won't sing the praises of God, then who will? Get out and tell the world that we got well." And I take every chance that I can from Senator Harold Hughes to say, I got well. I got well. So here's your chance. So if you're in the Mobilize Recovery Facebook, you might have got a preview of this. So we're asking you to take a challenge. Take this challenge. I've done this for the last few years. Every day of Recovery Month, post a photo, a video, a story, anything that shows why you recover out loud. And this is what recovery looks like. Every day of September, let's get fired up with it. Let's show it. Let's take over those platforms. I said earlier today, even put it on MySpace. I don't know. John Winslow might still have a nice MySpace. I don't know if you were in social media back then, John. But I'm just saying, I want to support this as much as possible and get that message out there. I want to open up social media in Recovery Month and just be flooded with it. I'll put in the chat where you can send this send an email to my partner in crime, Joanna Vance, that her and I worked together on this to try to get it kicked off for Recovery Month. And Joanna is going to be answering all your emails. She's at baseball practice with her kids, working the concession stand right now. So if you haven't got an email back yet, I know you're hitting her up to please just be patient as we get it out. But invite everyone to do it, family members, community members, anyone to get out there and just say how important recovery is to them. Let's give everyone a voice in this. And I think that we can really lead up to International Recovery Day with this as well, and mobilize. So with that, I will stop babbling so much and pass it back to you, Aaron.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Are you able to put that sample one in the chat for people, or you're not releasing that yet?
We have Joanna Vance. You have to send an email to Joanna. She'll put your one sentence quote and your picture, send it in an email to Joanna, and she will send it back to you, and you can post it out there, get it out there. So I'll put it in the chat right now. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And Joanna is often at the baseball field, like during the state organizing team meeting, and so she likes play it. She likes going both with at the baseball game, and she always attends the state organizing team meeting too. So Johnny just put Joanna's email in or the Recovery Out Loud email in the chat. So everybody just that's your in to get some help with your social media. Johnny, somebody asked if you could be their personal cheerleader in the chat, Johnny. So you have some chats to get back to. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and I know that team's going to do an amazing job at the State House for Recovery Month. I think that's September 11th. You all are doing your thing in Pennsylvania, I think. Maybe I got the date wrong, but anyway, I want to pass things over to T. Scott, who actually, when T told me about the peer support network they have in the state, and then just what they've been able to do across the state and what they're doing in Maryland and what they're planning for Recovery Month and International Overdose Awareness Day, we said we got to get T to talk on the national training. And so with that, T. Scott.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say this is an honor and pleasure to speak before you guys. I'm just amazed and excited about what Recovery Advocacy Project has done thus far. And it's just, I was in a seat virtually years ago, and I'm happy and honored to be present for this year's Mobilized Recovery. So this is actually a kickoff for me to see you all in September. So I'm here today on behalf of Maryland. I represent one of the Maryland Recovery organizers. It's myself along with 6 others. So I cannot start this conversation without giving shouts out to Thomas, Debbie, Carlia, Jennifer, Angel, and Yatale. So they are our recovery organizers here in Maryland. And I love the fact that RAP changed it from leaders to organizers. So we were leads at first, and then we kind of championed over as organizers, and that has helped us establish being a team. You know, I think that's really important to have teammates that you can call on and reach out to. So Maryland is doing a bunch of stuff, and all your states sound amazing. I want to visit each and every one of you. One of the things that we did, and I'm going to ask Aaron to bring it up, is to start from our listening sessions. During COVID, we held about 5 listening sessions. And we thought it was really important that now that we all became organizers from leads, that we follow up on what we heard from the year prior. So during COVID, here are the things that we heard about. We wanted individuals who showed up at our town halls, wanted to promote equal access to recovery and support services. They wanted to reduce barriers around harm reduction and mental health services, housing and family supports. They also wanted to support culturally appropriate services, advocate for grassroots recovery-oriented community organizations in each jurisdiction. So to date, in Maryland, we do not have what's called a recovery RCO in every jurisdiction, so we are fighting for that. And also secure justice around decriminalization, which is a true action for us around addiction and treating it as a public health issue. Also actively opposing employment and housing discrimination, that's huge for Maryland, and recovery status, and advocate for services for citizens who are returning from incarceration. So we do have a QR code listed at the bottom. If you are here and from Maryland, please scan that QR code. Join us in our efforts. Also, just giving response around behind the card, you know, to get powerful minds together to speak on actions about what they truly care about is a process. So I just wanted to give all favors to Aaron and Garrett, who stood by us in that process. Maryland organizes in a different way. So we are broke out in 5 regions throughout the state, which is Baltimore City, Central Maryland, also Western, Southern, and Eastern Shore, where John is from. So shout out to John on that. So thank you for being a champion in that area as well. So in those regions, peers really drive the movement of the work. You know, individuals with lived experience in substance use, mental health, and recovery, powering it out and organizing together. So Throughout this process, individuals throughout the state became certified. Many organizations host peer recovery support trainings, and then we organize around it. So we saw that there was a barrier. Certification was happening in Maryland and people didn't have a voice. So we organized, people came from throughout the state and we joined in one crowded space and talked about the things that we need and we advocated for them. So we spoke to our local behavioral health administration, also our local governments, our behavioral health authorities throughout the state, and also our health departments. And to date, they are over 300 certified peers throughout the state of Maryland, thousands of recovery coaches and supporters who champion recovery, to include family and faith-based members. I've mentioned that on purpose because we need a full constituency of people to change any action for Maryland. It's plenty of things that we need to fight for that haven't been done, and the time is now. So I always send out a call to action for you. If you are present here and today and would like to join Maryland Movement, please reach out to us. We have social media page. We also have an Instagram page and Facebook. You also can like our page. We also have a voter stand up for recovery, register and vote. We have not stopped registering individuals to vote. So individuals who have joined us in our actions, who would like to become volunteer voter registrars, we have someone to train them to register other people to vote. So we walk into recovery residences and ask the question, have you been registered to vote? Some people haven't, some people have never registered to vote, believing that they cannot. So Recovery Action Project has a powerful tool. Please, if you have not visited that site, please do. It's an awesome thing. Plenty of questions are asked in that platform. Please visit that. And if I would ask if someone can drop that into the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. So in Maryland, we saw the greatest amount of individuals, unfortunately, losing their lives to substance use, mainly fentanyl and also xylazine, which is a new substance that's happening in Maryland. There are individuals that are championing this effort by doing the great work, boots on the ground, in seats, talking to legislators and politicians and getting people behind overdose prevention. So from that effort, there's many organizations who are providing overdose awareness days across the state of Maryland. From the governor's office, I received today our first proclamation for this year, and I will champion that for everyone in the state of Maryland if you did not receive it. So I will post that live for all of us. Our mayor's office here in Baltimore City lit up purple last year. I had to think about it, and we're going to ask him to do the very same thing today. We also had him speak on some legislation last year, which he also did that as well. BHA will do a kickoff for Recovery Month, and I'll talk about that a little more down the line. The local behavioral health authority is doing their own recovery Overdose Awareness Day and also Recovery Month events. Our harm reduction communities are doing some great work around International Overdose Awareness Day and also Recovery Month. Recovery residences, they're going to be watch parties that's going to take place. So I'm excited about that, sending that message out to recovery residences, because too often we forget that people in recovery residences are in recovery, and often they're in and cannot come out. Also our treatment programs, our faith-based organizations, mental health providers, drug and dependency courts, our National Council of Alcohol and Drug Dependence is on board. We are hosting multiple recovery walks throughout the state of Maryland, candlelight visuals, and our young people are thriving this year in recovery, and I think that's important. And lastly is family members. Too often we exclude family members from this process, and we're asking them to take charge and show up on International Overdose Awareness Day with their candles in Baltimore City and throughout the state of Maryland. So why do we organize? And I just want to transition from that. So why do we organize? I believe we organize based on the learnings that we had from the Harvard Institute provided by Recovery Action Project. We organize to solve immediate problems. We organize to empower our constituency. We organize to develop leaders. Are you in a position to accept responsibility in the face of uncertainty? I ask that of you. If you are, and if you're not prepared, allow us to support you. We are here. We don't have all the tools. We learn each and every day from our experiences and being on great platforms such as this. things that we need, actions that are taken, watching other states, learning from each other. Together, we can truly make a difference. So it's with that that I say thank you for each and everything that you do. I learn something every time we get on. I listen. And lastly, we're going to end Recovery Month with that International Recovery Awareness Day with John Winlow and Light Up Purple. We were a part of it last year. We had our light bulbs, John. We want to encourage others to do that. All the Go Purples, anyone that's on the line, if you don't know someone, I'm going to challenge you today to reach out to at least 12 people. Ask 12 people to light up purple. Hopefully one day John will get to see that vision and others that the globe will shine purple. So with that, I'll just say thank you for the opportunity. And I am T. Scott, Baltimore, Maryland, and Maryland Recovery Action Project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, T. You are amazing. Your team is amazing. What you all are doing there is phenomenal. And thank you for sharing. I want to thank all of the speakers who got to share. I know a lot of you are saying, "Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea." So I think that if you weren't yet inspired or ready for Recovery Month events before this, we hope that you are now. I know a lot of folks next week attending International Overdose Awareness Day events next Tuesday on the 31st. And so whether you're participating in these, virtually or in person, it's just amazing what people are capable of, what you all are doing in your organizing. And I just wanted to share this before we ended tonight. I was at an in-person event in Tennessee last week, and the Tennessee team did listening sessions throughout the year. They thought that housing was going to be the main issue that people talked about, but it was employment. That was like the main one that kept coming up on their listening sessions. And so they said, all right, we got to do something about employment in the state that's impacting the recovery community. And so they planned a recovery resource and job fair in person. They went out and they identified between 20 and 30 recovery friendly employers and resources for people that were seeking employment or even housing. And they had this in-person event on August 20th, and they mobilized people and they made it available and promoted it. And I would say between 40 and 60, I lost track of how many job seekers went through the space that week. But there was one gentleman in particular that walked through the door about a couple months out of a prison sentence, and homeless, unemployed, and was having barriers with identification, barriers with transportation. And within a minute, he had a job offer for landscaping. He got a hug, a couple hugs, and had a ride to go get his identification the next day, or the Monday after. And he had he had the transportation issue solved in terms of going. Makes a difference whether you're showing up and working to provide recovery friendly workplaces. It all adds up. So I just want to thank you all for what you do on a daily basis. And sometimes it is hard to it's hard to keep going sometimes, because we can get tired, and Recovery Advocacy Project is meant to build a network so nobody has to feel run down, right, or exhausted. Like, we have teams for a reason. So really work with one another. share good ideas like we did tonight, and enjoy Recovery Month celebration. And we'll see folks all over the country for International Overdose Awareness Day and International Recovery Day. So we appreciate